guys, how's it going? Today is Saturday, September 14th, and I'm here to do your reading for the week of the 14th. Now, we've just had the full moon in Pisces. As you can see, it's still here at 22 degrees. It's going to be moving into Aries today. So you should feel that energetic shift. Remember, moon in Pisces can feel very weepy, um, can feel very forlorn suddenly for no reason whatsoever. So you'll feel a big change in energy levels, in how you present yourself to the rest of the world as well. So look forward to that. At the same time, oh, Mercury's already moved. Look at that, 000, right as I'm doing this. So Mercury has just moved into Venus, into Libra, and Venus later on today will move into Libra as well. Now, this is going to be another huge feeling of relief. It's going to feel like like a long weekend after a really tough week. Number one, because Mercury moving into Libra, which responds to Venus. When she moves into Libra, she's in her domicile. So she's like at home with the bonbons, watching her favorite rom-com. She's in a great mood here. So since Mercury rules these planets in Virgo, that means this Sun and this Mars, which have been really anxious for the last couple of weeks, are going to lighten up a little bit. So you'll see that the energy today will shift dramatically from the last couple of weeks. So Mercury is traveling before Venus. He moves faster than she does. So he's going to be ticking off a couple of transits this week, the first being in opposition to Chiron, and then the second being an inconjunct to Uranus. He'll be going through them first, and then Venus will be going through them. So Mercury opposes Chiron on the 17th. And then on the 18th, Venus opposes Chiron. Now, this will be some sort of trying to work out or trying to balance, trying to put some healing balm in some sort of wound. Wherever this is playing out in your chart right now is what it will be related to. Now, the first, Mercury will plant a thought about it. And then when Venus comes around, you'll understand. It'll sort of be like the soothing words to how you think about it. So Mercury will pose the question, and Venus will come along and sort of diplomatically resolve it, or at least offer some kind words, balanced energy to compensate for whatever this may be. And then as this happens with Uranus, here it's going to be sort of Mercury's going to kind of plant a seed of change here. It'll ask itself, does this thing in my life, does this add value? So you may be questioning the value of something, a person, place, thing, feeling. You may be wondering, like jury's out on whether or not this thing brings value to your life. And then Venus will come along at the same inconjunct, and she's going to decide what she wants to do about that. So now starting today, Saturn, which is over here, is stationing. So there may be a situation that is completely 100% stalled until the 22nd. When he then starts to move direct, because the 18th officially he goes direct, but he doesn't move off this degree of 1355 until the 22nd. So things may feel very stalled around this Saturn story for the next week. But those are the big transits. So there's not a lot, but there is a lot of movement. This will be a big shift here, and then this is a big shift for us. And then this will allow us to finally start, as I said, crawling towards whatever it is that we've been working on. So let's take a look at the cards and see what they have to say for the week. Hey everybody, how's it going? Here to do the reading for Aries for the week of September 14th, 2019. I apologize for my voice and if I'm a little slow. I'm getting over a raging fever. I tried to do too much and my body was like, mm-mm. So let's get the energy for the week. Hold on. Energy for Aries for the week of September 14th, 2019. Okay. Time to go. So very clear, moving on, moving forward message, moving into a new door, moving into a new situation. And interesting because today is the full moon and there's both Mercury and Venus changing signs. So, 9 is in the numerological period, the last number before the 1. So something is being left behind. Can we get messages for Aries, please? The week of September 14th, 2019. Okay. So we have encouragement and education. Both came up in the reverse. So I'll read these. Interesting. 35, which is an 8, 54, which is a 9. So there's a progression to the ending there. So I'm going to put those in the reverse and then I'll read those and see what those are. And then can I get a card for what's the challenging energy for the week? What is the challenging energy for the week for Aries? What's the oh, goodness, too many. Let's try again. Challenging energy for the week for Aries. Okay. Also 2 cards. Interesting. So receptivity. I think this is the Queen of Cups. I want to look that up. And then the 10 of Pentacles. So the challenging energy is actually receiving, being open to this change that wants to come in, right? Into we've seen this encouragement upside down before, which means that, and we've talked about walking away from situations where you don't feel supported, or perhaps where there's nothing, or that were lessons, where there's nothing left to learn, and moving forward. And so this is the challenge, is really being open. Look at those arms extended like a lotus flower, completely wide open to receiving all this kind of awesomeness, to getting to the 10. And that's what's so interesting. Let me double check here because he does these symbols that correspond to, I think that's the Queen of Cups. I think I said that, but okay, so hold on. King of Cups. Yeah, so that's the Queen of Cups energy there. So really taking a very sort of mature position on your emotional well-being and getting from this 8, 9 to the 10, so it's like in the 8, there was this sort of abundance of learning that caused you to realize that perhaps you were in a situation that was not for your best interest and you were no longer supported in it, and that you're now under the awareness that you have to move on from, because there's a 10 that's ready to come in for you, but your challenge is to be open to receiving it. Now let's see what the other cards have to say. Can I get 3 cards, please, for... Okay. And I don't read reversals. So King of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, which is kind of that holding on, and that's that you have to be open. These are the exact opposite energies here. This Queen of Cups and this 4 of Pentacles. One is wide open. One is like nothing new can come in as long as you're clinging to your 4 of the past. You can't get the other 6 if you're just going to be happy with those. Now let's get one more card here, please. And the King of Cups here, so it's like there's a lot of growth. You can, here it's saying to be open to it, and here it says if you want to be sort of the master of that emotional satisfaction, this 4 of Pentacles is right in the middle. So let's see what the last card is. One more card, please, for Aries, week of September 14th. One more card, please, for Aries, week of September 14th, 2019. Interesting. So, Justice card, which we've seen before, and that's the Libra card, and then the Nine of Pentacles. Right, so once again, the 4 going to the 9. So it's or the 4 being a part of the 9. 11 here. So yeah, this is, here you have your 9 of Pentacles, your 10 of Pentacles. There's a lot of growth that wants to happen here. This Justice is very much about this movement into the Venusian energy, the Mercury and Venus moving into that. There is this thing, it's like everything works out the way it's supposed to. Things come balanced. And this sort of feeling of abundance happens. But it's, it needs to be open. Even here, see the difference between the 4, one is closed and one is open. So it's like this one has already decided. The 4 of Pentacles. Did I keep saying 4 of Cups? I did say apologies. Anyway, 4 of Pentacles here is a very closed, tight energy, and it's like it's not gonna learn anything new. It's not gonna accept anything new. It's not going to allow for change because it's so concerned about losing what it already has that it doesn't allow for new things to come into it. And the Justice card here is saying, as well as these other ones, that if you're open to a rebalancing, that actually there's 5 more Pentacles to be had. So it may also be that, and it's interesting because the Chiron is at 4. Right? And I said that, let me just look at this chart here for a second. I just want to make sure that, yeah, so Chiron's at 4. So that's interesting. So I wonder if this challenge here, this healing thing is really that Mercury and Venus, when it hits the Chiron opposition, it's going to kind of pry open your hands and say, hey, it's time to take a second look at this. It's time to rebalance this situation so that you can get more of what you're looking for. And this came up in the reading last time, that what we were hoping to achieve, what we had in our minds, that actually what would be coming to us was more than we were even imagining, and so that's what this kind of is, being open to allowing all of the Pentacles to come in, because after the 10 there is no more, so if you open yourself up to receiving and stop being closed off and just content with, or deciding that you've already got everything, there's nothing more to be had here. Actually, there is, if you open up the situation and look to rebalance it a little bit more, there is a lot more to be had. Now let me read these 2 cards here. Which book was that? This one. So education. Okay, so in the reverse, stubbornness and the desire to know it all and be right no matter what will not get you what you want. Or could it be that you're afraid to be seen as someone who knows less than you're supposed to? Could you be flying through life by the seat of your pants, hoping no one will notice you're skimming the surface of things? Life is filled with lessons, some bitter, some sweet. A strident lust for certainty will never, will never bring you the wisdom you seek. Pretending to know more than you do won't make you wise. Be assured that not knowing is a magical place to be. All manner of mysteries are revealed. Be open. It's okay not to know. Okay, so that's interesting. And then let me read this, and then we'll put it together. But so this is like where you have, and this keeps coming up again. It's like where you have already decided that you know all you need to know, or that's just it. You've made a very closed judgment on something. It's being asked to look at it again. Now, these don't have to be major life changes. Remember, it's not like, I need to dump my husband. It could very simply be a work thing. It could be the babysitter that you were about to hire that you thought was awesome. Wait a second, maybe we should take a second look at that because maybe there's actually something better. So let's look at this encouragement card here. A misstep isn't the end of the world. You've fallen into a trap of false courage. Okay, so that keeps coming up again. And only humility will lead you out of it. Perhaps you weren't listening to your intuition and now you're in a jam. Being too self-reliant without knowing the ropes has brought you to this place. Don't become too discouraged. All is well. And you can always start again. Take another road and surely discover new territories where love really blooms. Just remember to rely on your higher power. You can't always get what you want, but spirit knows your needs. Something better waits around the corner. Okay, so this keeps coming up again and again, that there's somewhere where we've decided we know everything that there is to know, but that we haven't really done due diligence on, needs to be looked at again, needs to be reevaluated and brought more into balance, because there is actually more to be had out of that situation. And so it's this openness to receiving more is what the challenge is. So perhaps in this process, we have to admit that we were wrong. Perhaps we have to admit that we didn't, or that we thought we knew everything, but actually there's more to be learned. So wherever you're 100% convinced that you don't need, like where you didn't do your homework, and again, this keeps coming up again, where you didn't do your homework, but you're convinced that you don't need to, that's exactly what needs to be looked at again, because there's something more that wants to come in to take you through to this next door, because it's time to go, but she needs to also know how to open that door. So unless and that's, talking about the openness that's happening here. So wherever you're very closed-minded on a specific position that you have, or it's okay, I don't need to know any more about that. No, I'm done. Take a second look, because it looks like there's something else, like there's more due diligence, and that's that Mars in Virgo, more due diligence that needs to be happened so that actually the situation can be balanced better, which is going to be that Libra energy, because there's 5 more to be had than what we think. So there's far more on the table that's available if we're willing to put our egos aside and admit that perhaps we didn't know everything that we thought we knew. And if we're a little bit more receptive to listen even to other people's point of views, which I know, trust me, this is like, could not speak more to me, as I'm always like, I don't need your opinion, I know it. So we can get like that, where we know everything without listening to someone else. So there seems to be a situation where actually there is some information or another lesson that we need, or a lesson that we need to go back into and fully learn, like not the Cliff's Notes version of it, but the actual, like, I read the whole book and now I got it. So I want to get one more message here from Venus, what Venus has to say to us, and she's the real protagonist this week. What message from Venus, please, for the week of September 14th? Okay. Show simple acts of kindness. A simple act of kindness can energize you and bring happiness to those around you. Okay, so some sort of sense of generosity here, not being closed off. See, she's like surrounded by all sorts of different creatures, being connected with other people in the universe. So if we kind of like have gotten into like a harsh sort of me state, and we're not listening to anyone, and we're no longer we're no longer open to the opinions of others. There's something somewhere where we need to soften up a little bit, and that will happen naturally as soon as Mercury and Venus goes into Libra. So this may actually just be something that's going to happen, where it's like, as a result of softening up, we realized that actually there was a situation that we had already closed ourselves off to or closed ourselves up on. Like, no, I already decided what I think about that thing, and actually some new information is going to come in to sort of rebalance it, which is going to bring us something greater than we had before. So really the message this week is to sort of embrace a softer side, be more receptive to people around you, and be receptive also to learning something new that you thought you already knew. Okay? Or learning something additional on something you thought you had already gotten to 100 of. There's still something more for us to learn in order to get to that 10. Okay, so hope this was helpful, and I will be doing the second half of September in the next couple of days. Take care. Ciao. Okay, so I was just putting away the cards, and actually I want to add an addendum because literally what happened in the reading is what I think is kind of going to happen this week. Remember, it's like at a certain point, this looked like it was going in one direction, and then the other cards came out, and we read this, which sort of shifted the story. So it's like if I had just sort of stopped here and not read the description on these, or not done these cards, I would have thought it was one thing, but actually there was a deeper story behind it. So I feel like that's going to this was sort of like a microcosm of what you can expect to happen over the course of the week. So I thought I'd just add that. Bye.